Hey, what's up? This is JBAT, and this will be my review for Batman The Long Halloween, which is a great Batman novel, graphic novel, and it's actually one of my very favorites. You know what I'm saying? And I would actually consider this almost, it's number two, but I won't be surprised if eventually it went through number one, which is the Batman The Killing Joke for me. I really enjoyed this graphic novel, so this would be my review for Batman The Long Halloween, a superb graphic novel, well written and with excellent artwork. Hey, what's up? It's me, Jermaine, and today I will be doing what JBAT. I'm sorry. Today I will be doing a review for the graphic novel Batman The Long Halloween. And as you can see, this is the graphic novel Batman the Long Halloween. Now this was originally created in 1996, but the version that I have of it is from 2011. It's like a collector's edition of it. And this is a very good graphic novel. I would have to say I would consider at this point like my second favorite graphic novel, and it could eventually become my favorite graphic novel. You know what I'm saying? I consider The Killing Joke, my favorite graphic novel, and that was a Batman graphic novel. But in the end, this really could possibly overtake that because it is very well done. Like the writing and the storytelling in it is excellent by Jeff Loeb. And I also thought that like the art direction in it was very cool. It gave like Batman like a strong, imposing presence that was very cool and like stylish. Even like the look of his cape was like this gorgeous, like cool. You know what I'm saying? Batman just himself just truly looked cool in this graphic novel, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. But this is be my review for Batman: The Long Halloween. As you can see, here's the graphic novel. Now, this story takes place like in the early years of Batman's career. Like if you follow like story continuity, it's actually right after year one, like a little after year one, because even like Robin himself, like Dick Grayson hasn't been introduced. But in the tale, you have like a Catwoman, she's kind of involved in it, so she was always there. And this also gives like an origin tale of Two-Face. So like Harvey Dent, you get like a strong like story on Harvey Dent himself, and he eventually becomes Two-Face in this tale. So it gives like a nice kind of origin tale on like Harvey Dent too. He's mostly Harvey Dent in the story, but towards the end of the book, that is when he eventually becomes like Two-Face. You know what I'm saying? And I'll probably touch on that somewhere or whatever later. But this story is about the beginning of Batman's career, and he's in his early years of his career, and there's like a killer on the loose who the media dubs the Holiday because he kills his victims only on holidays, and he always leaves behind like a certain item representing the holiday. You know what I'm saying? It's very good. It's well done. Because like his first murder is like on I think Halloween, and he leaves a pumpkin at the scene along with the gun that he shot him with. And I always thought that was kind of cool. So each holiday he kills like victims on like every holiday. Say if it's like Thanksgiving, he'll leave behind like an item that is representing like Thanksgiving, or if it's Christmas, he'll leave behind something representing Christmas after he kills his victims. And eventually it turns out that he's like killing certain family members of Carmine Falcone. Like he's very well known like in the Batman universe. Carmine Falcone, he's considered like Gotham's like untouchable crime lord, like of the gangsters, like the mobsters or whatever. And in this graphic novel, he has like a strong presence, in this graphic novel. And the killer Holiday is targeting like family members of his family or whatever. And eventually you realize that that's who the Holiday killer. You don't know if it's a man or a woman, and I won't spoil it. Eventually it is revealed who it is, towards the end. But I won't spoil it for people who have never read, the graphic novel. But it's like it's well told, and the story itself is told over I think it's 12 chapters that it originally had. Yeah, it was actually like 13 issues when this was actually in the comics back in 1996. So each issue, it was like a holiday, I think, or whatever. Just like Batman Year One had like 4 issues, but they put it together to make the graphic novel, and even The Dark Knight Returns have 4 issues, but they put them together to make a complete graphic novel. Whereas The Long Halloween had 13 issues back when it was originally aired from 1996 to 1997. Now, like the basis of the story kind of starts with Falcone having trouble with the money that he has. He has so much money that he can't find nowhere, I think, like to put it, like in like banks on something, because you know he's like a known like suspected criminal, and he is like a gangster. You know, he's had people killed, like robberies and stuff like that. You know, and he even tries to get Bruce Wayne to like accept him like bank wise, but Bruce Wayne even refuses to do it. So eventually, you know what I'm saying, like he has his money like laundered, but he has like stored like in a warehouse. And there's like a scene kind of in the graphic novel where Batman and Harvey Dent team up and like burn all Falcone's like money up or whatever, you know. But eventually, you know what I'm saying, like it's other things, you know, like that I would touch on, you know, like later on in the story. But at the opening of the story, like Catwoman, like was sitting the couch, she meets Bruce Wayne at like this get together that they're having, and Bruce he chooses to become Batman and comes back to Falcone's like, you know what I'm saying, place, you know what I'm saying, and he finds that Selena is there as Catwoman, but they don't know each other's identities though. And he sees that she's there, and he has like a confrontation with her. He chases her through like Gotham City, and it's like it's cool and it looks very cool, you know, like the look of Batman and Catwoman in the tail. It is very like, you know, like imposing and like strong. It just looks very cool. The way like he actually has scars on his face, I think, from like when Catwoman had scratched him in his face. He actually carries like 3 scars like on his face throughout like the graphic novel. But after this incident, Falcone he places like $1 million on both Catwoman and Batman. So he puts up like a 2 million bounty for both of them, like 1 million each or whatever. So basically now we have gangsters or whatever after Batman and Catwoman throughout the tale, you know. But the main basis of the story is still based on like the Holiday Killer, which I'll touch on too in a minute. But you also see signs of like the corruption in the story too, you know, like whereas like there's a scene where like Harvey Dent, he goes to like Commissioner Gordon's like office, and Commissioner Gordon has like alcohol stored in his desktop. Now you know you shouldn't have that, and he's like a police, you know what I'm saying, like police like, you know, captain or whatever, so you know you shouldn't have like no alcohol in his desk drawer to give out to like someone, like, you know, you shouldn't have nothing like that. So it's like little corruption things that they have throughout the tale, you know, that make it like, you know, interesting, and shows how corrupt even the police force, even like Gordon could be, you know. And even Batman, like with him and Harvey Dent like burned up Falcone's money, and that was very corrupt, you know what I'm saying. Even Batman himself is kind of corrupt, you know. But like you have like the villains that show up in this tale are you have Solomon Grundy, you have Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow, you have Pamela Isaac, Poison Ivy, you know. Then you have the Mad Hatter, he shows up, you know. You know what I'm saying? These are the villains that show up in the story. Because at one point, I remember how I mentioned that Bruce Wayne actually refused to accept Falcone's like money, you know, because he's like a criminal. He eventually gives in and does accept the money because of Poison Ivy like poisoning him. And there's a point in the story where Poison Ivy somehow gives like a rose to Bruce Wayne, and it cuts his finger, and that affects him with the her poison, you know what I'm saying, like her poison stuff, and then she kind of has him under control, and she makes him agree to accept Falcone's, you know, the money issues that they have and whatever, you know what I'm saying. But basically, like even the Joker shows up in his tale. He shows up in like chapter 3, issue 3. He shows up in it, you know, and he has like 2 main issues where he's like the central villain of it, and he's bent on taking the Holiday Killer out. You know what I'm saying? I thought his tales were kind of like good, you know. I thought they were pretty good. But like I say, back to the main point of the story, it's about like the Holiday Killer, and he kills his first victim on Halloween, and he always leaves behind like certain objects that represent the holiday. Like Halloween, like I told you, he left the pumpkin, you know, Christmas, he leaves like certain things representing Christmas, and it goes on for a whole year. Like eventually Batman and Gordon, they have to even go to Arkham Asylum and get help from a calendar man, because they figure that he probably would know who the killer is, you know. And he gives them little suggestions or whatever, but even he really doesn't know, you know. He does suggest at one point that it could be a woman too, though, you know. So yeah, because eventually like, they go through Arkham Asylum, you know, and stuff like that, you know, and it looks very good. You know? Eventually, like because the killer is always killing on holidays and leaving behind holiday items, the media or the news, but they dub him the holiday killer, and that's where he gets like the name. He or she gets their name for, you know, that they are the holiday killer or whatever. And that's basically it. And there's one victim I touch on. I won't reveal who it was that didn't get killed by Holiday, but he was targeted by Holiday, and Holiday left an item out, and it was on St. Patrick's Day, so you could probably kind of figure out who that was. But Holiday didn't kill him, you know. But yeah, overall, this was like an excellent graphic novel. Batman: The Long Halloween. I would highly recommend reading this, for especially for non-Batman fans. If you're trying to get into like reading Batman like comics or graphic novels, you have to read this. This is very good. I really did enjoy this. You know what I'm saying? The writing by Jeff Loeb was like excellent, and like the artwork by Tim Sale, but it was cool. Like his images of like Batman, like what he just, I mean, Batman doesn't even have to do anything. He could just stand there, you know, with his arms folded or just looking down, and his cape like flapping in the wind. It looks so cool, you know, the way he did like Batman in this novel. I mean, Batman really has like a true, strong, imposing presence. And also like the writing of the book, you know what I'm saying? Like the writing by Jeff Loeb, I thought was excellent. I could truly follow and understood, you know, and put stuff together what he was saying. You know, it was easy to follow his writing and really understand clearly what, you know, what it was about and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And like the detective work scenes, they like to write like when they were trying to figure out who the holiday killer is over the course of the year, you know. You know what I'm saying? It's very, it's funny. This really is. I mean, just looking at it is like just fun. You know what I'm saying? It truly is a fun book. I would recommend reading this. From the moment I read this, I thought it was like very good. And I have already read it like over and over, like a couple times, you know, and I'm still reading. That's why I say eventually this could become my favorite. I'm not really sure, you know. I know they have like 2 other graphic novels that take place right after this, you know. They were written by Jeff Loeb and done by Tim Sale, you know. But yeah, I would highly recommend reading this. This is Batman: The Long Halloween. Now, also in this tale, you have like the usual Batman, you know. You know what I'm saying? Trademarks. You got like his batarangs are used a lot. You have like his bat. You know what I'm saying? Like he has like the bat rope, and he swings around Gotham City. You know, kind of a lot sometimes. You know. And stuff like that, you know. He has like the Batmobile in here. It shows up at one point too, like in a couple of scenes. Like when he's chasing the Joker, he had the Batmobile. That's right. Gregory Wright, he also did like the colors for like the drawing. So I think Tim Sale just drew it, but Gregory Wright, he actually colored it or whatever. So you actually got to give him like credit too for like coloring, because like the artwork was like cool there. I still don't really think it runs with the Killing Joke for some reason, but it was still like pretty good, you know, like the way they did it or whatever. And there were certain like elements that were in the Christopher Nolan films that were pulled from this book, you know what I'm saying? Like the Dark Knight scene with where Batman meets Gordon and Harvey Dent on the rooftop, which is on the Dark Knight. That's pulled directly out of this. And then you also have the scene from the Dark Knight Rises where Catwoman was stealing stealing like jewels out the safe, you know what I'm saying? Now in the film, in the film it was Bruce Wayne's safe, but in here it was Falcone's like safe she was stealing from in the and she was in Catwoman, you know what I'm saying? You know, like her Catwoman suit. Basically. Now another thing I noticed about Batman himself, like in this or whatever, Batman has like he has like like the look of him is like, now when he's Bruce Wayne he doesn't look like that, which was kind of odd. But when he's Batman he has like a unshaven look, like he looks kind of like rough, like he got like hair on his face, like he needs to shave or whatever. I was noticing that, and I thought that made him look more manly too, you know, like more masculine in the tale, you know, because he looks very like masculine, you know what I'm saying, like he looks very manly and strong, you know what I'm saying? And Catwoman, she is like, ooh, she has like a body out of this world, like like the way they drew her body, she looks like voluptuous, you know what I'm saying? Like very, very cool, you know. But that's why I was really touching on, like the look of Batman in this graphic novel. It was truly awesome. He just looked so cool in here, and like some of the other guys too, like, you know, they looked cool, but like the look of Batman himself, you know, was like very awesome to me. As you can see, like, got like images from it. But I touch on this like a little, you know, a little later. And also, like I was saying before, like Two-Face himself too, you know, like Harvey Dent, he has like a strong, like I'm saying, like origin tale to him, which I thought was good, which leads up to him becoming Two-Face, and I thought that was cool, like the way they did that, kind of the way they did that too. But he still doesn't really become Two-Face until kind of towards the end, you know. But like his lead up to that is kind of like, you know what I'm saying, interesting. They even show the acid getting thrown in his face, you know, like his origin, you know, and that's what made his face get like scarred. Now even Alfred, he's in this tale too. He has like a big role in it too. Then there's still like the subject of like Gordon. He has a son in this graphic novel, and see, I'm still so used to him having like, you know, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, who is Batgirl, that's his daughter, you know. So that still kind of like throws off like, you know, the continuity of it, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm so used to him like knowing him having like a daughter like Barbara Gordon, who is Batgirl, versus him having like a son, you know. So I always thought that was kind of, you know, kind of off, but it's okay though, you know. It's pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? It's alright. But I would highly recommend reading Batman: The Long Halloween. It is an excellent read, and especially like if you're like trying to just get into reading Batman comics, or like, you know what I'm saying, I would definitely recommend reading Batman: The Long Halloween. It is very cool, you know what I'm saying. I thought the artwork and the writing on it is excellent. So that's my review for Batman: The Long Halloween, and this is the version I have of it. Now this edition had like 4 pages that were cut from it, and then it has sketches in it, and it also has an introduction by director Christopher Nolan and writer David Goyer. You know, he did like The Blade and like stuff like that. Like he wrote the screenplays for those films, you know. So yeah, this is my review for Batman: The Long Halloween, and this is the 2011 edition. As you can see, you have Batman on the cover. Okay. Alright. Okay, as you can see, this is my Batman: The Long Halloween graphic novel. And as you can see, it has like a cool like cover, you know, Batman's on the front. And I like the orange they have up here, like, you know, representing Halloween, you know. And this version I have of it is the 2011 edition, which is also a collector's edition. And it had an introduction by Christopher Nolan. You know, he directed the Batman Begins trilogy, and it had like also an introduction with David Goyer, the writer. And it also had like 4 pages that weren't originally in the Batman: The Long Halloween graphic novel, which were included in this edition of it. And this story was originally created in 1996. See, there's a cool, stylish image of Batman, you know, in orange. Nice little cover. But yeah, the look of it. Yeah, as you can see, these are like some of the cool images it has in it, you know. As you can see, like Batman right here, and he has like the Joker after he then took out the Joker, you know. I was saying, I thought that was kind of cool. Images of Falcone. You can even see like the scars, you know, like on his face and stuff. It truly is like well done. And you, like I said before, like the look of Batman in this graphic novel was very, you know, like strong and imposing. He looks very, you know, like masculine, like manly, which I thought was kind of cool and kind of stood out, you know. Yeah, this was truly a good read. You know, I would highly recommend reading this book, Batman: The Long Halloween. This is easily my second favorite one after Batman: The Killing Joke. Now, eventually, this probably could become, like, you know what I'm saying, my favorite graphic novel, because I've read it so much, you know. And see, like, the images they have of Batman with his cape is always, like, blowing in the wind and stuff. I always thought that looked cool, you know. It's truly a cool, you know, graphic novel. I would highly recommend this, you know. Some more cool images of Batman, you know. You know, they got like some more images of like Batman, and see Catwoman. Yeah, she looks very cool too, you know. She's like voluptuous, you know. Nice shaped figure on her, you know. Nice image of Batman right there. That's when they like confronting each other. Now in this book, she's kind of like an ally, you know, and like a friend, you know. I mean, like an enemy at times, you know. And see how Batman's cape is flowing or whatever. I always thought that looked cool, you know. Here he's like throwing like a smoke pellet, I think. You know, very great graphic novel. And right here he's even swinging on his rope, you know, like swinging him and chasing Catwoman through Gotham City. Always thought that was cool, like nice little images of him. Okay. But yeah, this was a great book, an excellent read. I would highly recommend reading Batman The Long Halloween, especially if you're not a Batman fan, if you're not one, you can definitely, this would be a good place to start. I would highly recommend reading this. Now, Batman fans definitely should give it a try. You definitely should read this. I would highly recommend this. Is easily one of the best Batman graphic novel stories I have ever read. Easily. Okay. Alright. This is JBAT. In the end, Batman The Long Halloween is an excellent graphic novel. I would highly recommend this for any Batman fan, and especially if you're not a Batman fan. If you're looking to read a Batman comic for the first time, I would highly recommend reading this graphic novel, Batman The Long Halloween. It truly is an excellent read with superb artwork. I would highly recommend reading this graphic novel. The look of Batman in this tale and other characters was truly excellent, and I would highly recommend Batman The Long Halloween.